Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we look at corporate reports and make jokes, but don't worry, we'll explain them too. Today we're diving into Erie Indemnity Company's latest filing. What's interesting about this filing? Well, imagine trying to understand insurance jargon while also figuring out executive pay. It's a recipe for confusion, and we're here to decode it all for you. This is a definitive information statement, meaning it's the final version. It's filed to give shareholders the details about important company stuff, especially the annual meeting where they vote on things. Think of it as the company's way of keeping its owners in the loop. The key event is the annual meeting scheduled for April 22, 2025, where they will elect 11 directors. Now, who gets to vote is a bit complex. Only Class B common stockholders get a say. As of February 21, 2022, shares of Class B stock. But those shares don't get a vote, and only 2,502 shares of Class B stock. But those shares don't get a vote, and only 2,502 shares of Class B stock. So a small number of people really control the show, which is normal for some companies. Specifically, the H.O. Hurt Trust own a whopping 92% of the voting Class B shares. This means they pretty much decide who gets to be on the board. It's like having a kingmaker in the corporate world. Erie Indemnity is the attorney-in-fact for Erie Insurance Exchange. Basically, they manage the exchange, which is a reciprocal insurance setup where policyholders insure each other. Erie Indemnity earns its keep by charging a management fee which is capped at 25% of the exchange's premiums. That fee accounts for almost all of Erie Indemnity's revenue, so they are tied at the hip to the exchange's performance. The management fee rate has been set at 25% for a while now. The board has 11 members who are elected annually. There are a few family connections within the board. Thomas Hagen and Jonathan Hurt Hagen are father and son, and Elizabeth Hurt Vorschek is related to them. The chairman and CEO roles are separate, which is good for checks and balances. The independent directors, those without ties to management, also meet separately to discuss things. This helps ensure the board can provide unbiased oversight. The company has an enterprise risk management program, and the board is responsible for overseeing it. The risk committee is in charge of the company's overall risk appetite plus environmental, social, and governance (ESG) initiatives. Time to talk about money, specifically executive compensation. The main goal is to attract, motivate, and retain executives while balancing shareholder and policyholder interests. They use a mix of base salary and bonus opportunities. A big chunk of the executive's potential pay is at risk, tied to company performance. The Annual Incentive Plan AIP is a short-term bonus plan. Performance is measured by growth in direct written premium, growth in policies in force, and something called the statutory combined ratio. Because of things like supply chain problems and inflation, they used a qualitative goal for the combined ratio. The committee looked at business strategies aimed to improve the combined ratio. Under the long-term incentive plan, tip long-term performance is judged over 3 years against a peer group, to be exact. Here's the actual wording about it. Performance below that of the peer group results in a payout below target, and so on. The awards are time vesting and performance vesting. We should note, though, that the external factors of performance being less favorable has led to the board approving a one-time equity compensation plan payment to offset poor performance. Speaking of stock, there's a policy that says executives need to hold a certain amount of company stock. This is supposed to stop them from making risky decisions for short-term gains. Also, there's an anti-hedging policy to stop executives from betting against their own company. Let's take a quick peek at the summary compensation table. This table is the place where we see the breakdown of what executives get paid. It has all the fancy numbers. The highest paid executive is Timothy G. Nicastro, the President and Chief Executive Officer, with total compensation of $93,793, Julianne Palkowski. The Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer made a total of $1,018.19 Zond Egas Eddie. Made a total of $1,819.41 Tal. Said the Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer made a total of $1,081.19 Ponent $7,093 of. The grants of plan-based awards table is where we see potential payouts under different incentive plans. For Timothy, they had a target award of $15,000 and also received almost $2,000 more in other awards. For Julie, her target was about a third of what the CEO got, around $367,500, but about a similar amount more. It should be clear from all this that this is where the big decisions for compensation are being made. They also have a pension plan and a supplemental retirement plan, or SERP, to help executives save for retirement. The present value of Timothy G. Nicastro's SERP benefits is almost $7 million. That's a significant incentive to stick around. The company has a clawback policy, meaning they can recover bonuses if there are accounting errors or if an executive is terminated for cause. Directors receive a mix of cash retainers, meeting fees, and stock grants. In 2024, the annual cash retainer was $65,000 plus meeting fees and stock grants. The chairman of the board gets an extra $101,000. Ernst & Young are the independent auditors. For 2024, they received about $2.6 million in fees for their work. The audit committee is in charge of the company's selection and making sure they are independent. Now, for a number that always raises eyebrows, the CEO pay ratio. In 2024, the ratio the CEO's pay to the median employee's pay is 109:1. The median employee made about $84,000 while the CEO made over $9 million. The total shareholder return underperformed their peer group index in several years, and the compensation actually paid to the CEO and non-CEO NEOs and our TSR decreased from 2020 to 2020-21, primarily because the decrease to LTIP awards outweighed other compensations increases. So what's the story here? Erie Indemnity is a well-managed company that is heavily tied to the performance of the Erie Insurance Exchange. The executive compensation is structured to reward both short-term and long-term growth, although there's been some tweaking to make up for external factors impacting performance. The company seems committed to good governance, but the high concentration of voting power in the Hurt Trusts is something to keep an eye on. The notable risk is Erie Indemnity's reliance on a single entity, the exchange, for the bulk of its revenue. Any significant issues affecting the exchange would directly impact Erie Indemnity. The company's commitment to incentivizing executives and ensuring they maintain a significant equity stake should work for long-term value creation. Thanks for watching Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know what corporate filings you'd like us to decode next.